Hey there. Welcome to All Things Social Security. I'm Stephanie Joy. Whether you are a first-time viewer, an occasional viewer, a subscriber, or one of the three tiered benefactor members, I want to welcome you and let your video begin. Remember, if you haven't checked out the memberships, it might be something up your alley because it gives you an opportunity for a little more Social Security disability attorney attention if you need it, but don't have representation and don't want to do a full-fledged consultation. Okay, have a great one, guys. Stay tuned. Good afternoon. Had a question from a friend and peer from our a network group that we're all, many of us are involved in. And he asked this. He's not a disability professional, but he asked a really great question. Thank you, Michael. And it has to do with what happens if you have a multitude of medical impairments, none of which are disabling, but you require specialists for each one. And would that matter, or do you have to look at each one, et cetera, et cetera? And is it a no gamer? Is it a game killer? So no, it is definitely not a game killer. This is probably the majority of the time a person has multiple medical impairments, each of which is severe. They might also have some ones that are going to end up being considered not severe, but and no single one of those impairments would cut them out of all 12,000 occupations in the economy. Does that mean you lose? No. The SSA will consider all of them combined because you're experiencing them, all those body parts or systems are existing at the same time with whatever you're trying to do. So the limitations and symptoms, the functional limitations that stem from whichever impairment, and that would include the non-severe ones too, I would add, they are considered. Um, and there's therefore a plethora of them, and the adjudicator or a judge will have to determine what limitations are posed and to what extent by each impairment. So it is often the case that it's the combined limitations from all of those impairments that will render the person unable to do any job. So, for instance, you have arthritis in your fingers. It might not prevent you from doing a job that you don't need to use your fingers all day long. Maybe you can use them occasionally, but not more than occasionally. Well, there's a ton of jobs out there that would allow you to perform those jobs if your only problem is your fingers. But no, you also have, severe bedridden migraines twice a month that take you out for at least a full day each. Let's say that's one of yours. I mean, personally, I would argue that the migraines disable you entirely because you'd be losing 2 days from any job because you're in bed, and that's not conducive to any job that exists in substantial numbers in the economy in a competitive environment. So, aside from the fact that I think migraines can be utterly debilitating, and aside from the fact that the SSA tends to pretend they're not, let's give a different example then. You also have recurring gout in one of your feet. So maybe every 3 months you lose 4 days on your feet. Of course, you have to have astute medical proof of all these limitations, not just the diagnosis. And that really is the big crux of the matter and the difficulty that probably 99% of those that lose their case are challenged at getting. They may not even know they have to, so they haven't really done any of the legwork to do that. But so you have the gout, and then let's say you have anxiety and you start getting really anxious, perhaps a little panicky if you're in public too long, dealing with the public. Okay, so we have the anxiety that makes dealing with the public difficult. It might eliminate all jobs except for maybe those that only have occasional interaction with the public. Or maybe your anxiety with the public is a little more severe and you really can't have any reliable uh, interaction with the public as part of your job. All right, so you take out all those jobs. So now you've taken out the jobs that require frequent hand use, right? You've taken out, we'll hold off on the gout for the moment. You've taken out the jobs that uh, would be with the public, let's just say at all. All right, so all the jobs that are in the public, working in a store as a cashier, those are all gone. And those are often unskilled, I think, light jobs. So that whole section of jobs is gone. That's probably quite a few. And so each impairment that we have that has limiting effects on tasks that would be relevant to one or another occupation in that big old list is relevant. The one with the hands takes away all hand jobs. And don't laugh, but seriously. So that would be many of those sit down jobs that if you're otherwise relegated to sedentary work due to a bad back, where a lot of it's hand usage, then that problem with your hands would eliminate much of those, maybe not all, but much of those, because many of them have frequent hand use required. It could be keyboard, it could be stuffing envelopes, it really depends. So, I'm giving you broad examples, but that's literally like kind of like the micromanaging that has to be done with each and every impairment and what functional limitations they cause you. And that's how we do it. I would say the vast majority of the time, people don't win just because of one impairment. I know a lot of people go into if they're self-represent anyway, they'll go in with one impairment, the one that took them out of their most recent job. And it's a bad one because it caused them literally to lose their job. Maybe they've been doing their job for 40 years or 30 years. And they feel sure then that, of course, you know, this is my job and it took me out. I'm disabled. You are disabled from performing that job, but that is not the definition under the Social Security rules. It's taking you out of all jobs, not just the one you had. So we go through all those things. I have something that I've been using the last couple of years with my clients, and it's just called the body chart. And I'm sure they moan and groan when they get it, but it does wonders in terms of helping us help them. So it's literally a body chart front and back, and they just have to check off which body parts are impacted by anything. And then on the next page, how is it impacted? And also it asks, and who you're treating with. Because if they say not treating or, not treating now, it's been a few years, well, then we know something that they have to do. Because all those things are going to carve out all those jobs. And that's the name of the game. So don't ever avoid any impairment. I mean, I make a joke about the hangnail. Tell me about the hangnail. Um, and I'm half serious about that because what you think is minor might very well be something that little do you know it implicates a whole sector of jobs, the ones that you couldn't otherwise get rid of based on your other impairments. So we do a bit of that needle threading for you, but you have to give us the information or else we can't use it. So anyway, yeah, Michael, all those impairments, they are as bad as they are to have, they are good for your case. So bring it on. Talk to you guys later. Bye.